They wanted me to rip my solar panels off the roof. They sent me letters. They threatened fines. They even knocked on my door and told me to comply, or else. And I almost gave in. Almost. Because what they did not know, what Karen never bothered to find out, was that the moment she filed that complaint, she handed me a weapon I did not even know I had. Let me take you back to the day this all started. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I live in a quiet suburb in California, in one of those neighborhoods where every lawn looks the same and the HOA newsletter comes like clockwork. I bought this house 6 years ago, raised my kids here, paid my dues every single month without complaint. I was a good neighbor. I followed the rules. I kept my head down. Then came the electricity bills. Last summer hit like a furnace. My cooling costs went through the roof, literally. I was paying over $400 a month, so I did what any sensible homeowner would do. I got quotes for solar panels. After weeks of research, I signed the contract, got the permits from the city, and had a licensed installer put 12 panels on my south-facing roof. Clean, flush-mounted, barely visible from the street. I was proud. I thought I'd finally done something smart. I was wrong to think it would be that simple. 3 weeks after installation, I got a letter from the HOA. Your solar panels are in violation of community aesthetic standards. Please remove them within 30 days or face fines of $150 per day. I read it twice. 3 times. I couldn't believe it. Aesthetic standards? My panels were behind the roofline. You could barely see them from the curb. And then my neighbor Karen came over. I filed the complaint, she said, arms crossed, standing at the edge of my driveway. Those panels are ugly. They bring down property values, and they don't belong in this neighborhood. I stood there in shock. This woman, who I'd waved to every morning for 3 years, had reported me to the HOA over solar panels. Karen, I said, trying to stay calm, I got permits. I followed the process. This is legal. The HOA says otherwise, she replied, and walked back to her house. I went to the next HOA meeting. I explained everything. The city permits, the licensed contractor, the fact that the panels met every building code requirement. The board sat there with their arms crossed. The president, a retired guy named Gerald, slid a piece of paper across the table. Our CC&Rs give us authority to regulate exterior modifications. We're not anti-solar. We just have standards. Standards. Right. The fines started the next week. $150 a day. I got letters every Monday. I called the HOA management company. They put me on hold for 45 minutes and then transferred me to a voicemail that was full. I sent written responses. Ignored. I asked to see the specific CC&R clause they were using. They sent me a 6-page document with one vague sentence about exterior modifications requiring board approval. By week 3, I owed over $3,000 in accumulated fines. By week 4, they were threatening to place a lien on my home. I was losing sleep. I felt trapped. I did not have the money to fight a legal battle, or so I thought. And then, one night at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, I started searching, and I found something that changed everything. California Civil Code Section 714. I read it once, then again. Then I sat straight up in my chair because I realized the HOA had made a massive, expensive mistake. California state law explicitly prohibits any HOA from banning, restricting, or placing unreasonable conditions on the installation of solar energy systems. Not suggests, not recommends, prohibits. It's not a guideline, it's a statute with real consequences. Any HOA rule that effectively bans solar panels is void and unenforceable by law. The HOA can request that you place panels in a way that minimizes visibility, but only if it does not increase costs by more than $1,000 or decrease efficiency by more than 10%. My installation met both conditions. They were not enforcing aesthetic standards. They were violating state law. I found the California Energy Commission's complaint process online. I documented everything. Every letter, every fine notice, every email, the date Karen told me she filed the complaint. I submitted a formal complaint to the California Energy Board that same night. 2 weeks later, the HOA received a notice of investigation. I remember the moment Gerald called me. His voice sounded different, smaller. We may have acted too quickly, he said. You think? I replied. The Energy Board found the HOA in direct violation of California Civil Code 714. The investigation concluded that the HOA had knowingly attempted to enforce a rule that supersedes state law. The fine to the HOA? $5,000. Plus they were required to reimburse me for every dollar of fines they had collected. Every cent. And they had to issue a written notice to all residents clarifying that solar panels are legally protected in California. Every single fine I'd paid. Gone. Reversed. Back in my account. My solar panels are still on my roof. They've been there for 8 months now. My electricity bill last month? $0. I actually got a credit from the utility company because my panels produced more power than I used. Karen's electricity bill? I heard it went up again this summer. Here's what I want you to take from this. HOAs have real power over a lot of things, but that power has limits, and those limits are set by state law. In California and in many other states, solar panels are legally protected. Your HOA cannot ban them. If they try, you have options. Document everything. File a complaint with your state energy authority. Know your rights before you give up. Because sometimes the people sending you threatening letters have no idea what the law actually says. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just look it up. If something like this has ever happened to you, whether it's solar panels, a fence, a ramp for a family member, anything, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to see more stories like this, the next one is going to make your jaw drop.